Good afternoon, boys and girls. Today I'm going to be reading a story to you titled Testing Mrs. Malarkey. The story is written by Judy Finchler and the illustrator is Kevin O'Malley. So let's see what happens in the story. Testing Mrs. Malarkey. So we got here the title page and they're going with this big box. Let's see what's in there. Mrs. Malarkey is a good teacher. Usually she's really nice, but a couple of weeks ago she started acting a little weird. She started talking about the test, the Instructional Performance Through Understanding test. I think Mrs. Malarkey said it was called the IPTU test. The student saying, "Not another test. No wonder they pity us." But Mrs. Malarkey said the test wasn't that important. She said it wouldn't affect our report cards. It wouldn't mean extra homework, and if we didn't do well, we'd still go on to the next grade. "Mrs. Malarkey, you shouldn't bite your nails," one of the students said. At recess, we played multiplication mambo. Each class got new CD-ROMs called There's Something About Decimals. After lunch, we played funny phonics. Mrs. Malarkey said you never know what's going to be on the test. I before E except after C. You get to move 2 spaces. Isn't phonics fun? Can I go to the bathroom? So let's see what's going to keep happening. The closer we got to the test day, the weirder things got. When I brought the attendance sheets to the office, I heard Principal Wiggins yelling about pencils. "This is the test! I want the good number 2 pencils, not the kind with the crumbly erasers, and I will personally make sure they're all sharpened perfectly," he yelled. The cafeteria lady, Mrs. Slopdown, took away the potato chips and served only fish. Fish is good brain food. Some of you would eat a whale. My food usually goes right to my stomach. In art, we each made posters about the test. Mrs. Magenta also showed us how to color in all those little circles they put on the test. During gym, we didn't play baseball or even exercise. Mr. Footnall said we had to prepare our minds and bodies for the test. We all learned something about meditating and something called yogurt. Like I said, things were getting pretty weird at school. I got to thinking. The test was sort of important. So here he's saying, your mind and body are one with the test. They're all doing it. Even Mom knew about the test. When she read me my bedtime story, I had to complete a ditto and give the main idea before I could go to sleep. So there's Mom. Mom started making me eat a really big breakfast. For lunch, she packed me a Power Bar 2000. When I got to school, I traded Adam for a fat-free bran muffin. He traded with Hannah for a baggie of carrot sticks. Hannah didn't want the Power Bar, so she asked her best friend Meredith if she would trade her for an apple. Somehow, someone must have wanted the apple, and I'm not sure what happened, but I had the Power Bar 2000 again. One night, Mom took me to a PTA meeting. A man was there talking about the test. He wasn't a teacher or a parent or even the principal, but whoever he was, he seemed to think the test was very important. So did the parents. So you can hear the parents saying, "My son is gifted in a variety of areas. Will the test hinder his Ivy League chances?" Will the grade point average be reflected in the scores? Should I be concerned about the performance anxiety? How will the test affect real estate prices? What the heck are they talking about? The day of the test, the janitor, Mr. Shirley, closed off the whole hallway. We couldn't even walk down it unless we had a pass. And you had to whisper. Mrs. Malarkey had to whisper the secret password to Mr. Shirley before she could go to room 10. That morning, there were more teachers than kids waiting for the nurse. So they're all waiting. Mrs. Malarkey's job was to hand out the number 2 pencils and the scratch paper. She looked like she didn't get enough sleep. Principal Wiggins was keeping the time. We couldn't even touch the test until he waved the flag. When it was time to start, he waved the flag so hard, something happened to his hair. The test took forever. It took 2 whole days. My friend Carmen got in trouble for not using his scratch paper the right way. I thought his Ninja Warrior looked pretty good though. Mrs. Malarkey caught Barry with his baseball cards. Morgan got a stomach ache and had to go to the nurse. The hall monitor gave her such a hard time she threw up right in the hall. When Mrs. Malarkey said to erase all the pencil marks, Janet erased the whole test. Principal Wiggins was in the room for a while, but he had a stomach ache and had to go to the nurse. I hope he didn't throw up in the hall too. After the test, everybody got prizes and had treats, and we got extra recess. Even Stephen, who fell asleep 2 times during the test. Mrs. Malarkey looked wiped out, and she didn't even take the test. Here, Mrs. Malarkey, have my Power Bar 2000. It's been a long time since we took the test. Things are back to normal. Principal Wiggins isn't yelling quite as much. The cafeteria lady started serving potato chips again. Mom's packing me good old peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and Mrs. Malarkey is letting her fingernails grow really long. I guess the test really wasn't that important after all. And then at the end, you see all the teachers celebrating, and it says, number 1, IPTU County Champions. The end.